The Silver Cup, a true story of faith across 43 years, inspired by chapter 47 of Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. In a quiet town in Nebraska, a boy named Ellsworth slipped beneath the surface of a swimming pool, pushed in jest by his older brother. As the water closed over him a second time, panic gave way to something else entirely. A burst of light, brilliant and many-coloured, filled his vision. At its centre stood a figure he had never seen before, a man with calm, luminous eyes and a smile that seemed to carry no fear at all. Then strong hands pulled him out, coughing into the ordinary afternoon. The vision faded. The man remained somewhere, lodged in the boy's memory like a seed waiting for soil. 12 years passed before that seed found its season. It was 1893, and the world's Parliament of Religions had drawn extraordinary visitors to Chicago. Walking near the great exhibition halls with his mother, young Ellsworth froze mid-step. There, walking ahead of him toward an auditorium, was the very man from his vision, the same tranquil eyes, the same unmistakable presence. "Mother," he cried, "that is the man who came to me when I was drowning." Mother and son hurried inside and found him on the lecture platform, where he was introduced to the gathered crowd as a delegate from India, Swami Vivekananda. After a talk that stirred something deep in everyone present, Ellsworth approached him, hoping with the unguarded hope only the young allow themselves, that this radiant stranger might become his teacher. Vivekananda seemed to read the wish before it was spoken. Gently, he explained that he was not to be Ellsworth's guru. That teacher, he said, would arrive later in life and would arrive bearing a gift, a silver cup, poured full with more blessing than the boy could yet hold. Then Vivekananda was gone, back to India, and within a decade gone from the earth entirely. Ellsworth carried the prophecy forward alone through the slow accumulation of an ordinary American life, school, work, the quiet passing of years with no teacher in sight. There were nights, he later admitted, when he wondered if the words in Chicago had been nothing more than a kind man's poetic blessing, not meant to be taken literally at all. In 1925, in a moment of real longing, he prayed simply that his teacher would finally come. That same night he was woken by music, not earthly music, but something carried by what looked like a procession of celestial figures with flutes, passing silently through his room and vanishing into a doorway he somehow recognized. The very next evening, for the first time in his life, he wandered into a lecture hall in Los Angeles. A young monk from India was speaking about Kriya Yoga and the direct experience of God. Ellsworth sat down, and something in him went very still. He had found, at last, the man Vivekananda had promised, Paramahansa Yogananda. He became one of Yogananda's earliest American disciples, present at every Christmas gathering at the new Hermitage on Mount Washington from its founding in 1925 onward. 11 Christmases came and went. The silver cup, if it was ever coming, seemed to have been forgotten by everyone but him. Then came the Christmas of 1936. Yogananda, fresh from a journey to India, played Santa Claus for his small community of monks and disciples, handing out gifts he had carefully chosen for each person, a sari of golden silk for one, a small trinket for another. He came to a square package and called out Mr. Dickinson, handing it over without ceremony, without any memory of a 43-year-old conversation in Chicago that he had never been part of. He had simply seen the object in a Calcutta bazaar and thought of his disciple. Ellsworth untied the ribbon. Inside was a tall silver drinking cup. In that instant, for the third time in his life, the same dazzling light flared before his eyes, the light from the swimming pool, the light that had walked beside Vivekananda in Chicago, now arriving as confirmation rather than vision. A promise, spoken before Yogananda was even fully grown, carried unknowingly across an ocean and a generation by the very man it concerned, had closed its long circle on an ordinary Christmas night. There is something quietly staggering in this story, not the light, not even the prophecy, but the patience it asked of an ordinary man. 43 years between a promise and its keeping. A boyhood vision he could have dismissed as a trick of fear and water. Swami's words he could have written off as kindness rather than knowledge. Decades of an unremarkable life, with no evidence at all that anything was still in motion. And yet he kept the promise alive in himself long after it would have been reasonable to let it go. That perhaps is the real teaching tucked inside the silver cup, that some blessings are already on their way to us long before we can see them coming, and the work asked of us in the meantime is simply not to stop believing they're real.